Hello everybody, my name is Chicken. This is a video of my Thomas Wooden Railway layout. Something that I want to make clear in this one is that this layout is roughly based off of the map from the TV series of Thomas and Friends. So it has a main line and all that cool stuff. So I figured I should just explain it as we go. So I guess the main line really starts up here at Timoth Station. Now this is the old style Knapford station, but I am using it for Timoth because it is smaller. So there is Oliver pulling Scruffy and Toad in a big old long line of ballast trucks. So the line comes out. There is poor Donald who's reversed into a signal box. And then that line comes into Knapford Station. So this Knapford Station is a combination of the regular deluxe Knapford Station and the Talking Railway one. I've posted videos of this recently on Twitter. If you've seen those, you'll know that it's not in the best of shape, but I mean, I think it still looks great. We are missing a roof though. So, there is Custom Bear pulling some Knapford Express coaches, and I tried to make it accurate to the show with like the siding over here, 6 lanes. So then it comes out through here, through 2 signal boxes, and this is the main line. So there is Custom Duck and Stepney pulling 5 green express coaches. And this runs past Knapford Sheds. So, here at Knapford Sheds we have Gordon, who is rolling off the turntable, and his brother, the Flying Scotsman. I put the gantry crane here because I think that's where the gantry crane is, but I don't have an actual Knapford harbor, so that's about all we get of it. Okay, so main line follows here. On the TV series map, next up is Henry's Tunnel. So I got the sad face Henry in the wall, and I made sure to have the crossover track and the siding. So those 2 lines go through here, and we don't have Crosby, unfortunately, but we do have the Crosby Station cargo track. And then, next is after that is the old iron bridge where Henry got stopped by Cal, so I made sure to include that. And this line is actually the loop line, which we will come back to later. So next we go into Wellsworth. Here's Wellsworth and the Wellsworth Water Tower. I would have liked to have like the actual Wellsworth yard, but I don't know. I just didn't have room for it. So there's Edward pulling a scrap train, and the line continues into Gordon's Hill. So there is Douglas helping James get over the hill. If you've seen that episode, you'll know what happens to him. So then the main line continues over Gordon's Hill and down into Marin Station. So there's the Marin signal box, and it loops around here into Marin Station, where we have 4 tar tankers in the siding, just like in Dirty Objects, where James crashes into him. That's a Toby one, I think. So the main line then continues, goes through Gordon's Hill. I know this isn't technically correct, but it's a toy line. It's not really made to be accurate. We go to the power generator station thing because it fit, and then we arrive at Crovan's Gate, and that line just goes back to the Marin signal box. So there is Scarloey getting repaired at the Abbey Repair Station. I don't remember what that girl's name is, but that's the one that helps take care of him. There is Shining Time Station, which I'm using as Crovan's Gate Station because I don't have another Knapford. That's what I would have liked to use, but I don't know. So there is the Sodor Railway Repair, and there's just a little shed there, and there is Crovan's Gate Sheds. Now, this is actually the version that says TVS Sheds on it, but there's a newer version of this shed that actually says Crovan's Gate on it. I don't own that version, but it's the same thing, so I figured I could go ahead and use it. There at the turntable is the Big City engine, Neil, and a handcar, and these lines go off, and we will come back to there. So let's quickly cover the narrow gauge portion of this layout real quick. So there at the sheds is Duke, and his line just goes through here, goes up onto a curved viaduct where Peter Sam is pulling Ada, Jane, Mabel, and Cora. It comes down, there's Sir Handel and George probably arguing, and it brings us into Boulder Mountain Quarry. Now this isn't really a place in the railway series, but I don't know, I needed something to fill up space, so it is here. There is the Glen Knock switch tower. There's Rusty and Boulder, and then there is Rheneas pulling Agnes, Ruth, Beatrice, Jemima, and I don't know the other one. And there's Thumper. I think we've all seen what he was in recently. I'm not gonna bring it up though. And there's just a little house. So that's the extent of the narrow gauge railway. It's very small, but I don't know, there's not really a whole lot of destinations to use for it. So I don't know, I wasn't too upset. I feel like this is a good enough size for it. Okay, so let's come back to Wellsworth here. So here at Wellsworth there is Trevor, and this switch is actually the switch for Edward's branch line. Before Gordon's Hill, you can take a right, go through Sudbury. That's the switch tower because there is no Sudbury station. And this brings us into Brendam Docks. I don't know, it's pretty small, but it still does its job. So we have, a lot of workmen, a crane, there's Cranky, which again, not in the railway series, but, still looks nice. There is Custom Percy pulling the mail. I suppose that must be Tom Tipper then. So along this line we have Boko pulling some cargo cars, meeting with Bill and Ben, pulling some China clay cars from the sort of China clay quarry. There's Bolstrobe with some cargo. And these three lines here, well, actually, so these two lines just go through a cargo crane and back to Knapford Sheds. These three lines come up onto Henry's tunnel, and this meets where Henry is pulling some old coaches and stopped by the cow. And that line just goes through Gordon's Hill and goes back down to the Sudbury. The middle line also goes through the Old Iron Bridge, comes down and goes back into Marin. And then this third line, this comes down into Henry's Forest. So there's Wilbert the Forest Engine meeting with Scott Matt. It'll focus, but it won't. So this line here, as I said earlier, this is the loop line that Gordon gets switched on to in James and No, one of the James episodes. So it comes here to a three-way switch. There are some log cars. And here's poor James, who has had his accident on his first day. Big old line of trucks. He just fell off the rails into the cow field. But that's okay. He'll be okay. Don't worry. So, James's line goes into L's Bridge. It crosses over. And at L's Bridge, there's Tom Hatton, Lady Hat, and there's Daisy with the milk. Probably about to leave it because she doesn't want to take it. So this line just goes past Tim's Sheds. Here at Tim's Sheds, we have Pug Jincy and the Diesel. This line goes past Mr. Jolly's Chocolate Factory, and then goes back into Knapford. Okay, so you're coming off of Knapford. Let's do Thomas's branch line. So there's Matt's car, and then here is Thomas pulling in Clarabelle over the level crossing. There's Birdie, and this line goes past the airfield, and there's Harold on his helipad, and then it comes back into L's Bridge. If we cross over, we can follow it this way. So there's the ever-famous windmill, which is technically on Toby's line, but I don't care. I'm putting it here. There's the watermill. There's a fallen tree. So, and then there's Maithwaite. I don't own the Talking Railway Maithwaite station. Ideally, I would have put that here, but it's okay. That one does its job. Go through the Hackenbeck Tunnel. There's Terrence's Field. This is Kindly and her cottage. And then you arrive at Farquhar. So there's Toby with Henrietta in a siding getting some water. And there's the conductor's shed, which is meant to be just a little reference to that grumpy police officer that Thomas meets on the tramway. So this brings us into Farquhar Quarry. There's Thomas, who's following down the mine. Have a coaling plant. Just a lot of trucks everywhere. This line back here just goes into a small yard where Mavis is, with some custom Series 1 style trucks. There's Butch. I don't know what this came from. It's not Thomas, but it just came with like a animal playset thing. It came with like gorillas and lions and stuff. So that line goes over the mountain and connects up with this one. And that goes through a tunnel and then back around to Tidmouth. So let's just cover Tidmouth real quick. So there's another Tidmouth station. That's just like in the first season. I just remember there always being a siding right there. Remember Edward shunted some milk tankers there. So that's what that's meant to be. That line connects back up to where Donald was. But then we go back here. There's just a little water scenery, I guess. This is meant to represent Bulgy's Bridge. And there's Bulgy. But I don't know. Ideally, I would have used one of those red stacking risers, but it didn't fit. So it still does its job. And then this just brings us back into Tidmouth Station, where Oliver is. And there's Lower Tidmouth as well. So I believe that covers just about the entire layout. Like I said, it's based on the railway series, or sorry, the TV series map. So hopefully it, is equitable for that. There are again, there's a lot of locations that I couldn't include, either because I didn't have room for them or because they're not made. One being Crosby Station. Would have liked to fit that on here, but there is no Crosby Station. So, another big area that I would have liked to do is pretty much everything north of here. So that being Duck's Branch Line leading into Arlesdale. So no Arlesdale Railway, but we do have 2 Arlesdale barrel loaders there. So I don't know, I hope that made up for it. Yeah, and there's no Vickerstown either. It pretty much stops after Crovan's Gate, so nothing more east of that. But I don't even own Vickerstown anyway, so it's not a big deal. I still really like this layout. Yeah. Just one last quick overview of the whole thing. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching.